We've made a lot of progress in colorectal cancer over the last decade or so, and so now we are talking about this as being more of a chronic disease. There are a lot of new medicines that have extended survival, but we have to keep taking the medicines. And while we still haven't found a cure for metastatic colon cancer that can't be removed surgically, we are having patients live longer and longer. And so we're at this point of what we call refractory disease. You'll see that out there in our literature. And I think of that as patients who've had sort of the two main kinds of chemotherapy, the oxaliplatin-based chemotherapy and the other drug called irinotecan or Camtazar. And so often they've been on those medicines, patients have been on those medicines for a couple of years, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. But now we have patients who've really exhausted those and they're in the refractory setting. So any special things about patients at this setting, and what are we thinking about next steps?
Sure. So I also learned across the way that some of the terminology we use as medical professionals actually have a negative impact on patients. So when I use the word refractory for my patients, they actually get very sensitive to that word because maybe the implications that mean. So I try to stay away from those terms and explain it exactly as you said. It's a chronic disease, and the analogy I usually use is it's like diabetes or high blood pressure. Something you have, you can get rid of it. You just have to live with it and take medicine for it. And if medicine stop working, we should move to the next one who hopefully work, and so on and so forth. So now in that advanced stage, or like if patient progressed on those drugs, we have two options which came relatively recently: Lonsurf, which got approved a few months ago, and Stivarga or regorafenib, which approved like a couple years ago, both in the same indication and both extra option to our patient that we can use to beat their diabetes strategy.
And so a lot of our patients are used to coming in every couple of weeks for IV treatments, and now these medicines are more pills. Do you see some reaction from patients in this setting that's different, that's a change?
Yeah, absolutely. I think number one, people are kind of feeling nervous that they're going to be taking this pill at home. They don't have the infusion nurse right there with them, and they're saying, is that going to be okay? And then it is that they're not going to be monitored as closely when they're on it because they're going to be at home. But however, I also tell people, there's a lot more freedom that comes with pills. They can travel or
And so we do tell them we're going to monitor them, and
Absolutely.
we are going to follow them close, but they're free to not come and get IVs. So refractory disease is a success, not a negative, and we have more tools to extend patient survival longer and longer with metastatic disease.
Something I always tell my patients is that I would rather them over-communicate than under-communicate. Sometimes people tell me they didn't want to tell me something, they thought it was insignificant, but that's why I'm here. That's why I have this role. So even if you think it's nothing, I just want you to at least, I tell my patients, at least shoot me an email, give me a call, let me and the physician decide if it's nothing or if it might be something that can turn into something bigger later and we can stop it before it becomes a problem.